We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He's starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back off, come on fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing us. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. You sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leo Mookie here, back with you with another new part of What If Izuku Was Isekai to Fairy Tail. This is part 1, and thanks a lot for the love for the first part. I'll probably be posting that of 3 new parts back to back after all. So after part 1, I'll post part 2, and then I'll probably get back to other what ifs as well. So yeah, at any rate, with all that said, let's go to that quick recap with Izuku Midoriya, a 9 to 10-year-old, coming back from basically having his feelings and emotions basically hurt by his former childhood best friend, Katsuki Bakugo, as he wanders around in the nearby woods that he normally used to play around with that of his old friend, as then he's engulfed by that of a light, and then transported to that of a whole new world. A world filled with magic. And then met a man who was a member of the Fairy Tail Guild by the name of Gildart, who decided to take in Izuku and bring him to Fairy Tail, as he was welcomed with open arms by that of many of its members, even the younger members, ranging from that of Natsu all the way to Kana, as welcome as one of the new member of Fairy Tail. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? A few months have now passed since Izuku joined the guild. Since then, this was also during the time when Natsu basically found that of Happy's egg, actually. And let's say the fiasco around that was quite crazy, to be fair. Izuku was completely and utterly confused about dragons actually existing, with Natsu going on out of a huge-ass rant, not knowing that Izuku doesn't know about dragons even existing since he's from another world, of course. To the point that, well, Izuku was completely and utterly caught off guard and was freaking out before he could start, well, crying. Erza basically steps in and knocks out Natsu and basically trying to comfort Izuku from freaking out. However, when finding out that Happy didn't turn into that of a dragon, but was a cat, or rather an X-seed on that, for example, let's just say Izuku's confusion just went up even higher, as he thought, wait, so dragons are actually cats in this world? And they hatch from eggs? With then kind of basically trying to inform Izuku that that's not the case, actually. Normally that's all cats don't come from eggs, showing that Happy must be a unique kind of cat, to be honest. With Izuku getting more confused and more worried after all. On that day, one of the guild members, Ritus, basically a pretty slim guy with that of curly long hair and specializes in that of art magic, basically made a portrait showing that of Natsu on that of Happy, who looks like that of a dragon instead of what he normally looks like. Since then, Happy has been just as much of a member of the guild as anyone else, with a few members of the guild basically looking after Happy too, besides just, well, Natsu and Lisana. Even Izuku, as he couldn't help but think that Happy looks pretty cute after all. Even though he's not a dragon, but at least he's in good hands with the two of them. As for Izuku, he started to basically want to learn more about magic, wanting to learn how to do magic, to be honest. However, a few of the members of the guild, mainly that of the older members, such as that of Makao and Wakaba, for example, wanted to help out Izuku, since Makao knows a bit of fire magic and Wakaba knows that of smoke magic. However, Izuku's inner, hero nerd or quirk nerd, or rather his that of what he truly is, an analyzation nerd actually, wanting to take notes on that of their magic. Hell, not just their magic, but almost everybody in the guild's magic, to be honest. Wanting to see what they can do, what they can truly do, their abilities, their strengths, their weaknesses, how to improve them, and many other things. Even for a 10-year-old, he couldn't help but always be curious about things new to him after all. With that, many people in the guild, especially that of specific members like that of Natsu, Gray, and even one of the elder kids, almost that of a few years older than that of Natsu and the others, being Laxus, calling Izuku the nerd. However, when it came to that of Natsu and Gray, who basically calls Izuku a nerd more as playfulness after all, Laxus kind of does it in a way to insult Izuku. Speaking of Laxus, when Izuku joined, Laxus didn't really see Izuku much of anything. Even though he had quite a lot of magic, he could sense it, especially with his circumstances, to be honest. He didn't think much about him, especially thinking that he seems like just another weak kid with barely any potential whatsoever. But to Izuku, Laxus kind of reminds him of Bakugo, to be honest. But less aggressive and angry, but more cold-hearted and distant. But even so, he still can't help but think about his old friend, and then begin to think about his mother. Since then, he begins taking his lessons and trying to figure out magic a lot more serious. So for example, turns out Izuku is quite proficient in that of equip magic. He learned this out when that of one of Erza's swords that she basically sent flying towards that of Mary Jane during one of their little fights was almost close to skewering the messy greenette. Within, Izuku basically cowering a bit in fear. Before then, the sword basically, stopped flying and basically just floating in the air. Originally, people thought it was just Erza. However, it was actually Izuku controlling the sword itself, which caught off everybody off guard, especially Erza, as even though equipped magic isn't really that uncommon, it's still surprising that somebody else in the guild is able to use equipped magic pretty good, especially a weapon that was already under that of, Erza's control and under her own magic as a holder. Since then, Erza's been giving Izuku some tips and, improvements on how to wield that of swords and many other weapons, given that he's skilled in that of equipped magic. But let's just say Erza's fighting style is unique, and given that she's able to use any form of weapon after all, is pretty well done. But Izuku, on the other hand, he's not really proficient in that of weapons at all. Hell, he's never even, not even that good at fighting, to be honest. Which, given that, since then, Natsu, alongside Gray, and many other members of the guild, hell, even Elfman, who was still basically a kind, caring, and timid kid at this point, also can kick Izuku's ass when it comes to fighting and combat. So since then, Izuku wanted to improve not just in that of using weapons for equipped magic, but he also wanted to learn how to fight up close and personal in hand-to-hand combat as well. You would think that, well, a few of the kids of Fairy Tail wouldn't be that good at teaching. Surprisingly, Natsu and Mira Jane are actually pretty good at teaching Izuku how to fight up with that of hand-to-hand combat. Since Natsu basically is self-taught, of course he had to figure out his own way of fighting style with that of his fire dragon slaying magic, which even though Natsu isn't really good at being a teacher, he did give Izuku some pointers on how to keep his footing on better footing, stances, and placement. Surprisingly, the one that basically taught Izuku how to properly fight is Mira Jane. Mira Jane was a great teacher on how Izuku had to fight, how to properly train to fight and throw a punch, kicks, grapples, and many other things too. Especially given her Satan Soul magic. But thankfully, she didn't decide using Satan Soul while training Izuku. Even though she was kind of pissed that Izuku knows re-equip magic just like that of Erza, she knows better. Don't blame the person in the magic. Blame the user. After at least a couple months or so, she's taken a liking to Izuku, almost like that of a secondary little brother, just like everybody else in the guild to her. As Izuku is happy that he's part of the guild, even though he really wants to go back home, see his mom again, he still can't help but think that Fairy Tail is a great family. At least a great secondary family to him. And that's a model between that of Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is more than just a guild. They're more than just mages. They're basically a family, and always will be. After hearing that from the master, he couldn't help but think, a family, huh? Even though they're not related by blood, Fairy Tail kinda already does feel like a family. Even though Izuku has only been there for only a few months, he can't help but like being part of the guild. At least that's of a good 5 years later on. As time went on, things in the guild has quite settled down and also stay the same as well. Natsu and Gray still hate each other, alongside that of Erza and that of Mira Jane, of course. Elfman is no longer timid and shy, but always wants to feel like he has to prove himself, to be honest. Also gaining that of several new members during the years as well, such as Team Shadow Gear, composed of a blue-haired, short-haired young woman by the name of Levi McGarden, and also two other members, a guy by the name of Jet and another guy by the name of Droll. Even several other members joined the guild too, like a green-haired guy by the name of Freed, a somewhat weird but pretty chill dude by the name of Big Slow, and a glasses-wearing woman by the name of Evergreen, as they ended up joining with Laxus, creating another team by the name of the Thunder Legion. However, the Thunder Legion isn't just the four of them. There's also a fifth member of the Thunder Legion as well. Currently, in that of the guild hall, as everybody is having some fun, drinking around, getting jobs, and many other things as well, with then soon seeing another argument between that of Gray and Natsu, as everybody's not even paying attention or just wondering if they're going to fight once again, with then soon Gray basically strips down once more, as freaking out again. Natsu couldn't help but laugh at Gray's basically constantly stripping himself, like that of a pervert, as he basically calls him, with Gray getting even more annoyed as soon as he gets his pants on, as both of them prepare that of spell circles, as Natsu's flame emerge with that of Gray's ice, as then, once again, the two are about to fight before then, both a kick to that of Natsu's face and basically a punch and a shoulder check into that of Gray's abs, with then saying, if Erza was here, she would basically tell the two of you to knock it off. Luckily, I'm here. With then soon both Gray and Natsu couldn't help but ache in pain, saying, "Screw you, Izuku." As Izuku, now 15 years old, at least a little bit taller, and having that of a kind and caring smile, not even phased with that of both Gray and Natsu basically wanting killing intent at him, as he's also wearing that of a long dark green coat over that of his shoulders, and also having that of a black dress shirt under it too, some casual jeans, and also that of red sneakers as well. And if you could see pretty closely under the coat, he is quite muscular, to be honest. Basically what he would look like and feel during that of canon. However, he's only 13 years old right now. But then a few members couldn't help but come up to that of Izuku, knocked out Gray and Natsu, as it being Lizana, alongside that of Elfman and Team Shadow Gear. With then Lizana saying, I know you're filling in for that of Erza when she's out on a job, but do you have to be that rough? Izuku saying, sorry, wasn't trying to. Just making sure that they don't destroy the guild hall. I mean, it's not 5 o'clock yet after all. Within Elfman saying, figures as much. If Erza's away, you're always here to keep the peace after all, Izuku. Gotta say, you're always there to help out while you can. With even that of Levi, Jed, and Droll also giving Izuku a bit of compliments as well. Within Izuku saying, oh man, you guys are just embarrassing me from time to time. With then soon a voice saying, yo, Izuku, as this is a familiar voice, as it coming from Laxus, seeing that of his other teammates. Within saying, we got a job, you coming or what? Within, Izuku couldn't help but say, right, on my way, Laxus. With then saying, sorry guys, gotta get going. I'll be back hopefully this job won't take too long. See you guys. With Izuku waving off from that of his friends, as the others can help but wave off too, within meeting up with that of Laxus, Freed, Big Slow, and Evergreen. With then, soon as they leave, within Gray now having all of his clothes back on again, saying, still can't believe Izuku decided to join up with Laxus of all people. I don't know why, but the guy's not a good fit for them. Within Natsu also getting up as well. Within Natsu saying, yeah, I mean, I've worked with Izuku quite a bit of times. And let's just say, every time when we do work together, he does freak out when we destroy some things. Within everybody saying, when you destroy things. Within Happy basically voicing what everybody is thinking, saying, basically you destroying everything, Natsu. Saying, oh, shut up, Happy. Within saying, but I do agree with Gray, though. What the heck was Izuku thinking joining up with Laxus of all people? Just doesn't make any sense. Within soon, a voice in the distance saying, are you all just this damn slow? Or are you all just too damn blind to see the picture? Within, hearing that as a being from Mira Jane, still basically abrasive and quite aggressive as always. Within soon, Lizana saying, hey sis, and what do you mean? Within soon, Mira Jane saying, you forgot that Izuku learned a new form of magic about that of a year ago, right? And it's the same kind of magic that Laxus is skilled at too. Within, everybody couldn't help but realize what Mira Jane is saying, as light bulbs finally go off in their heads, except that of, Levi, as she already knew what Mira Jane was saying. But then all of them saying, oh, right, totally forgot. With Levi being the only one basically sighing and shaking her head a little bit. But then saying, yeah, if I recall, didn't Izuku learn how to use that of, a new form called lightning magic, if I recall? And if I recall, our residential, lightning head is also a skilled lightning user. With then soon, Gray saying, yeah, that basically sums it up. Izuku is crazy talented when using other forms of magic, besides equip magic like Erza. If I recall, didn't he learn how to start using lightning magic after a specific job he took on by himself? With then everybody remembering, during this, Izuku took on a certain bodyguarding job for that of an old man who lives all by himself, saying that there had been a couple of thugs and basically trying to push on protection fees on him and his village after all. Izuku came in, took care of the thugs, while also wanting to help rebuild the town if anything was destroyed before he showed up and helped out and took care of them. During this time, the old man was actually quite impressed with that of Izuku. And besides giving him the jewels, he also gave him that of a good pat on the shoulder. After that, Izuku began learning how to use lightning magic. Little did he know, this is also a catalyst for something greater that would develop over time. Since then, Izuku began learning how started using that of lightning magic, not knowing. Since there wasn't really that many lightning users in the guild, there was only one person that would have been able to help him out, that being Laxus. At first, Laxus didn't want anything to do with Izuku, basically told him to buzz off, piss off, and basically don't bother him ever again. However, Izuku was always persistent. Even when Laxus refused to help him, he did start learning how to at least channel it properly, without, causing any harm to himself or anyone else around him. Found out he is able to coat the lightning magic around his fist, his legs, and around his body. However, using it as a projectile or basically conducting it for that of long range attacks, on the other hand, has always been difficult. And that's where Laxus came in. Hell, even Makarov basically wanted Laxus to help out Izuku. At first, Laxus didn't want anything to do with him, especially if Makarov asked him, given that over the years his animosity towards that of his grandfather started to grow even more and more. But seeing that Izuku may have some potential, he at least wants him to join his team and see what he's capable of. At first, Laxus didn't think Izuku wouldn't be much of a use in combat at all, given that the Thunder Legion only takes on that of combat jobs. Anything less at all. Anything that focus on finding missing items or basically taking care of people's lands or many other things that basically doesn't involve combat. Yeah, hell no. The Thunder Legion only takes on jobs that take care of either that of rogue mages, dark mages, certain also bodyguarding jobs, anything like that. Which makes sense since the Thunder Legion is actually one of the best combat teams of Fairy Tail, led by Laxus himself. And the first official job with Izuku joining the Combat Legion was basically a bodyguarding job, basically protecting that of a rich merchant. To be honest, while Laxus is basically cleaning house, he also found Big Slow, Evergreen, and Freed make sure to take care of many of the stragglers after all, with Izuku mainly protecting that of the main client. However, while the others were cleaning up, Freed wasn't looking wasn't looking properly and keeping aware of his surroundings. So Izuku basically covered his back by taking out one of the mages after all. With that, Freed couldn't help but thank Izuku for his aid. While still protecting the client, Izuku basically covered the flanks and also the blind spots of each and one of the other members. While as for Laxus, he didn't need any help whatsoever, since he was the one basically taking care of anybody that came straight for them. With that was Izuku's first job with the Thunder Legion. At first, Laxus didn't think Izuku would be useful since he didn't step into the fight at all, and since he only focused on working with that of the weak client. However, Freed, Evergreen, and Big Slow basically defended Izuku and said that he helped them out when they could, keep up with all of the enemies that were coming after them. With that, Laxus was at a disbelief, thinking that maybe his team were becoming too relaxed, but decided to just chunk it off that of a fluke. Since then, Izuku has always been there to support the members of the team as that of backup after all. Hell, Laxus was even able to see him basically using that of lightning magic with that of his equip magic. The only equipment that Izuku has is that of a bastard greatsword that he's able to that's easily able to conduct that of lightning and looks just like that of All Might's fantasy sword from that of the My Hero Academia AU universe. And the second being that of a spear that's able to channel magic just as well. To make up for Izuku not knowing how to use that of his new lightning magic for long range attacks, these weapons come in. His bastard greatsword coming from that of Erza as a way to show her respect and that of her, newfound friendship and care for that of Izuku. And the spear he bought with his own money. Since then, Laxus couldn't help but be impressed with Izuku and asked him to be that of a full, while also deciding to help him out with his lightning magic. Given that, during the year going by, Laxus told Izuku about his true form of magic, being lightning dragon slayer magic. With Izuku's eyes widening in shock, showing that he's the same as Natsu, within, Laxus getting pissed saying he is nothing like Natsu, as his dragon slaying magic came from that of a lacrima that was implanted by him by his father. Within, Izuku knowing about that of magic lacrimas, being that of magic crystals that people normally use for that of their for magic weapons or for other daily things as well. But not seeing that of the lacrima, as Laxus basically points at his chest, that it was basically implanted into his body by his father. Within, Izuku basically freaking out saying, "Isn't that dangerous? The process could have killed him." Within, Laxus not even caring saying, "And it did, but it didn't." And yet the old man still basically banished my father from the guild. The old bastard basically abandoned his own son. What kind of father just does that? Within, soon, Izuku, without even thinking, saying, one that cares deeply about him. Cares deeply, at least. Within, soon, hearing that, the other members couldn't help but be shocked that Izuku just spoke up towards Laxus about that. Within, walking off, as then, Laxus' respect for Izuku basically went up for at least a little bit. Not much, but at least enough. Since then, Izuku has become a full-fledged member of the Thunder Legion, all the way to that of 13. Currently, right now, they're taking on another job, as it's basically clearing out that of a town run by a dark wizard guild, as they've been causing nothing but trouble for the town after all. With that, Izuku couldn't help but get excited, wanting to help out as many people as he can, with Evergreen kind of always teasing Izuku about him basically having that of a kind, pure-hearted soul, as Izuku blushing, as even though Izuku is at least a little bit more confident around people, because him being part of Fairy Tail, when it comes to being around women, he still gets nervous as hell, especially around somebody as beautiful as Evergreen, with Big Slow always basically teasing and basically laughing at Izuku, figuring that he doesn't know how to talk to ladies or basically be around them without blushing like a tomato. Freed, on the other hand, is a bit indifferent to that of Izuku's plight after all. It's not that he doesn't care, it's more like he just doesn't see it as that of important, to be honest. As for Laxus, he could care less about Izuku's personal issues, as long as he's capable to fight for the Thunder Legion and to show his strength, and that's what matters the most. Since they finally arrive at the town, within, soon, Laxus couldn't help but have that of a feral grin saying, "It's time to get ready." With that, they all prepare their magic, even Izuku bringing out that of his bastard greatsword, with then jumping as they head into town, as a huge blast of magic basically sent flying up into the sky as the mission was taken care of, and that's under that of 2 minutes, with the guild basically taken care of and all their members all basically knocked out and beaten on the ground, with their guild master under that of Laxus saying, "Come on, spare us. We don't want to cause any more trouble." With then soon Laxus having that of a grin of pure utter bloodlust, saying, "Seriously, weaklings like you have no right to talk." With that, and almost his fist begins to glow in that of lightning. With soon he was about to slam it down onto that of the Dark Guild Master's head. However, Izuku basically blocks the attack with using his own lightning. Soon seeing this, Laxus couldn't help but get annoyed, saying, "The hell you think you're doing, Izuku?" Soon Izuku saying, "We don't kill. As much as they are Dark Guild members and criminals, Fairy Tail's #1 rule is to never kill. You know that, Laxus. We did our job, and now we need to give them to the proper authorities, being the Magic Council." Hearing this, Laxus saying, "That kind-hearted bullshit and even that damn rule is going to be the death of us. Fairy Tail may be strong now, but just you watch. In the coming of years, Fairy Tail will be weak. And don't blame me when I tell the old man I said I was right." With that, Laxus basically walks off. Soon, Free couldn't help but sigh, saying, "Don't take it too seriously, Izuku. Laxus is under a lot of stress, especially being the son of the guild master. Everybody's expecting him to be the head of the guild sooner or later, right?" With Big Slow basically commenting, saying, "Yeah, I mean, guy's got to give it his all somehow." Soon, Evergreen couldn't help but nod. Before then, Izuku saying, even if he is related to that of the guild, to the master, and even if he is one of the strongest younger members of the guild, alongside Erza and Mirajane as well, that still doesn't excuse his behavior of trying to kill him. I mean, remember, Fairy Tail is more than just a guild, and we always follow our rules, no matter what." Soon seeing that of the passed out, Dark Guild Master, as he basically pulls him up on his feet, as he's saying, "I'm going to gather up all the rest of the other members and wait until the Fiori guards show up. You guys can just relax." Seeing the Greenette, all three of them couldn't help but walk off too. As Freed wanted to help out Izuku, but seeing that he might have it under control, decided to do the same as well. Izuku thinking, just because he's the grandson of the master, that doesn't make him a prime candidate of being the next guild master. Thinking, "Laxus, why are you changing so much? Why are you becoming more aggressive? The reason I wanted to help out, the reason I followed you is because you were skilled in lightning magic. Even the master said that you're really skilled at it too. And not only that, I follow you because you remind me so much of Kacchan. You're strong, your determination, your confidence. Not only that, unlike Kacchan, you're less angry and always twisted. But now, I don't even know what. You're becoming just like him." With that, Izuku couldn't help but feel at least a little bit worried. Soon, after finishing up the job, gathering up all of the guild members, and heading back to the guild, Izuku has always been and always will be a member of the Thunder Legion as years now go on, as Fairy Tail ends up getting that of more and more members, especially one mysterious member that only a select few know of or have seen, that being a masked man with that of multiple magic staffs on his back, this being Mystigan. Izuku was able to see him at least out of once before, well, he shows up. He takes on the job and basically leaves after. The only person that basically sees him fully is that of the master. Hell, not even Laxus, who also, and Erza and even Mirajane, who are also S-class mages of Fairy Tail, couldn't help but, well, not even see what that of, well, Mystigan even looks like. Even Izuku, who noticed him too, only saw his eyes once before he fully passed out, making him even more of a mystery. Because of Mystigan's joining of Fairy Tail, Fairy Tail's renown even grew even more and more, because some say that Mystigan may be the second coming of Gildarts. Also, speaking of Gildarts, the man that brought Izuku to that of Fairy Tail, when Gildarts basically shows up to Fairy Tail once a while, he always checks up on Izuku. Not only that, he always gives him information and whatever he can learn from his jobs all across that of Earthland, hoping to find a way to send him back to his own world. And let's just say each and every effort comes up basically smaller and smaller and smaller day by day. And since currently Izuku is now that of 15 years old and is now ranked that of A rank adventure mage, part of that of the Fairy Tail Guild. And not only that, his lightning magic has grown even more powerful. Hell, even to the point that he's learned a few tricks under it too, even without that of Laxus' help. And sure, he's gained that of powers being in this world, but he still wants to go back home and see his mother and not worry her any more than he's already have. But with Gildarts barely coming in with barely any information or news whatsoever, not even Makarov, who is one of the 10 wizard sages of Magnolia, barely knows anything too, which means that it's possible that Izuku may never go back home ever again. And let's just say it was kind of a one big letdown. Hell, the cheerful, always helpful, and always supportive Green Net now completely and utterly down, with the guild basically feeling this, with several members wanting to cheer up Izuku. Hell, even Erza and Mirajane putting aside their anger alongside that of Gray and Natsu wanting to cheer up Izuku. Hell, even that of Freed, Big Slow, and Evergreen wanting to support Izuku too, wondering what's going on. With seeing on so many people worrying and caring about Izuku, then Kana also has been supporting Izuku from time to time as well, caring about that of the Green Net ever since he first joined. She was the first one to welcome Izuku with open arms. Hell, she was also the first person to tell the truth on why she joined Fairy Tail, being that she is the daughter of Gildarts. But she hasn't said anything to Gildarts at all, as Izuku always tried to encourage Kana to always, tell Gildarts the truth. Tell him that she is his daughter. To Kana, she always tries to find the courage to do so, thanks to Izuku's words, but given that he barely shows up to the guild any time at all, it's easier said than done. But even so, she still wants to at least prove Izuku that she can do it after all. With that, and now seeing that her friend is now also suffering, knowing the truth, the real reason on why he's down like this, realizing that he's been in this world for almost over that of 5 years. 5 years of not finding a single lead on going back home at all. Even the solo jobs that he takes, even without that of the Thunder Legion, have basically come up short at all. And now it's all come to that of a realization that he may never, ever find his way back to his original world. With Kana going over to the Green Net, no longer drunk, as she's basically become quite the alcoholic over the years. Given the drinking age in Magnolia, in that of Earthland, or rather Magnolia, is at the age of, 13 actually, surprisingly. With seeing her friend still pretty down, with Thint saying, "So, another dead end?" Saying, I just came back to speaking with the master, and you saw that Guildarts was here, so did you? Still haven't. Saying, figures. Saying, hey. Within Izuku giving off that of a cheeky grin, but it soon goes back to that of a saddened frown. Within saying, so, you still want to find a way back home? I do. But I also know that there's nothing else besides my mom back there, but I don't want to leave the guild either. I don't know what to do. With then saying, well, there is one way. Accept it. Accept it being here. But if you ever do find a way back home, well, you at least need to tell the truth. Because if you do, and if everybody finds out that you basically left, everybody's gonna think that you just abandoned the guild. Do you want to feel like you abandoned us without even giving us a chance, without even getting a chance to say goodbye? With that, Izuku couldn't help but blink at Kana, within saying, no, not at all. Within saying, good, now get your ass up and start explaining shit. Pulling up Izuku by that of his right arm, as then heading up front to that of the stage of the guild, as Kana basically screams to everybody that Izuku has an announcement to say. Within, Izuku's nervousness basically comes up full swing, as not only that he's basically in front of a crowd, as since the Fairy Tail Guild is quite large, even though the building does not look quite big on the outside, it's quite spacious on the inside. Within, Izuku still looking quite nervous, with basically sweat drops coming off the guy like crazy. It almost looks like you could even see that of a small puddle basically forming. With then, soon, Kana basically placing her hand on Izuku's shoulder. Within, him calming down before he begins to explain that he's not from Fiore at all, or even from Earthland or any other nation or country nearby, that he's actually from that of another world where magic is not prevalent, but abilities similar to magic exist. That he's been trying to find a way back home all this time, while also being a Fairy Tail member. And part of him is kind of down the fact that he hasn't found a single thing on sending him back. And it's the reason why he's been in a slump for the past couple of days. But he also tells him that he still hasn't given up on any way on trying to find his way back home. But while he's here, he wants to live his life to the very fullest, to giving it his all as a fellow Fairy Tail wizard to the very end if need be. With that, soon, everybody couldn't help but basically shout out to that of Izuku, with Izuku completely and utterly confused, with then everybody basically supporting him from that and basically caring about him. Especially if he does find a way back home, there would be no hard feelings, as they know that he would be able to come back. But even so, some of them would be saddened. Even Gray and Natsu, who basically, who get annoyed at Izuku for basically knocking them out all the time when theirs is not around, can't help but still appreciate him for being part of the guild. Even Happy basically giving out his own opinion too, saying that Izuku is a kind-hearted person and even gives him fish with anybody out even looking after all. With that, Izuku couldn't help but begin to tear up and cry, realizing that the Fairy Tail Guild is always going to be his family, his second family, a family that he is kind of scared leaving behind now, even if he does go back. And even if he does, they wouldn't hate him for it. They would still care deeply and support him all the way, as Kana gives him that of a comforting smile. But then Izuku's still giving off that of a toothy smile as well, while tears are still going down his eyes. as everybody's wanting to comfort Izuku. Within, Makarov couldn't help but smile, saying, "You'll always be one of my children, Izuku. Even if you go back home, you will always be a fairy tale wizard through and through, no matter what." Within, noticing his grandson as Laxus looking at Izuku. However, instead of a look of comfort, it's more of a look of, well, indifference, not even caring too much about Izuku's circumstances whatsoever, almost like he didn't even care whatsoever, even though Izuku is a member of his team and squad, as Laxus not basically doing what he was originally doing anyway. As for his teammates, Freed, Evergreen, and Big Slow, on the other hand, they basically are comforting Izuku, even without their leader, as Makarov couldn't help but get even more worried for that of his grandson, as seeing that his grandson is becoming more and more distant into the guild outside of his team, possibly even towards that of his own team as well. As the old master couldn't help but wonder what the future holds for not just Izuku, but also everybody else in Fairy Tail as well. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Let's read them. Yeah, this was more of a, well, fast forward chapter a few times to show Izuku's, well, comfortability inside of the guild after all. As at first, he was nervous, shy, and timid, while starting to become more confident, but still basically nervous around people as well. And his heroic nature still shines on. As for him being part of the Thunder Legion, I wanted to have somewhat of a strong connection with Laxus, because again, if you think about it, Laxus reminds us so much of Bakugo early on. So even if, well, Izuku is trying to, well, find a way back home, I think having at least something that reminds him of home, being that of his former childhood friend turned bully, and possibly be able to make a friend with somebody similar to Bakugo. Possibly if he finds a way back home, he would be able to change his mind and everything like that. Would be easier. However, that's going to be easier said than done. As for Izuku's magic, yeah, he knows equip magic, and he's also skilled in that. And he also now has that of lightning magic, which is not really much of a difference. I mean, we all knew that he was going to learn that of lightning magic sooner or later. However, this lightning magic is going to be quite something else. I won't spoil it, but you will see it in the next part. Trust me. Not only that, you guys are wondering, who is Izuku going to be shipped with? I'm going to tell you this outright. No, it's not Erza, it's not Mira Jane, and it's certainly not Kana. Kana's basically like that of Izuku's best friend, to be honest. And maybe like that of a sister figure too. The person that will be introduced, that would be Izuku's love interest, well, one of two girls that would be shipped with Izuku, will be introduced in the next part. And like I said, I won't be keeping it a secret. If you want to know who Izuku's love interest is going to be, keep an eye out on my community tab. So yeah, at any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep to date my videos when I upload on the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later, guys, and hope you all take care. Finish it off, Shiro.
Hi, everyone. This is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell, and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!